What's good, YouTube? You know who it is. It's your boy Neon Diamond 101 back again, talking about Degrassi Next Class, Season 3, Episode 7, hashtag unsubscribe. The first storyline we're talking about starts with Lola rambling on to Hunter. He's editing a video for the little project, the little channel that they have with Baz, VJ, and Yael, and pretty much he's giving her 2 cents. She's really nervous. She's giving some feedback or advice, or whatever. She keeps talking. She gets really close, and then she accidentally spills her chips, and she like wipes it down or whatever. And then they keep on talking, and then she leans in again, and then she looks down and sees like this humongous boner. Because as we know, as Yael told us, that Hunter has a very large. Yeah, we don't need to get into that. But he's super embarrassed, and she like freaks out, and she just leaves. And then so he tells Baz about it, and Baz is kind of like, well, first he's like, we got to get rid of Lola, and he's like, we talk on a weekly basis. Why would you take that away from me? Another great line. And you know what? I have to say that even though I think Baz is annoying, he does have some great lines, so I'll give him that. He is kind of like the comedic relief in some ways. So I'm glad we're getting more of Baz. I wonder if we actually get like a full Baz storyline, maybe probably for season 4. Um, but yeah, so he tells Baz about the bonus situation, and they plot to kick Lola out, and they say she's not gonna believe me if I want to, and so they say we have to make it so that Yael wants to take her out. So they bring out some false data and show it to Yael and says she's spending like $200 on makeup and she's not getting many views, and everyone else's videos are a lot better, and so Yael says they have to kick her out. And so Hunter is like really geeking out because he's like, yes, my plan worked. But he freaks out when he sees Yael and Lola talking in the hallway. He's like, oh crap, this is over. Um, and so later, he brings Yael some food. I'm not sure what it was. It looked like onion rings or maybe spaghetti or something. I was just very curious because I was like, what is that? So, um, not really important to the story, but and he gave her some juice too. Um, and so Yael kind of asks like, did anyone want her out? And she's saying that the data says that she spent 200, but she only bought like 2 things. And then Hunter folds and says, I had a boner for Lola. I had a boner for Lola. I'm like, there's probably a better way to say that, but I just enjoy the humor, and I'll never pass up a time to laugh at a good line. So thank you, Degrassi, Next Class, for that. And she like freaks out because he's like, well, I saw you talking to her, and she's like, we're talking about our project because they're doing a project together. And so Yael's pissed that he lied, and later Hunter says that they rehire Lola. She says it doesn't really change anything. He makes a slide of saying like, despite like being embarrassed, he should tell her the truth. And she opens up and says we used to talk about stuff all the time when we were friends. And she's like, yeah, boners are funny, boners are hilarious. And kind of like from the other episode, Yael kind of feel like left out now that they're dating, and he's like, I promise I won't shut you out. And she's still not convinced. Like it ended on a very awkward note where she's like, I'm not sure, and she's like, let's just agree that boners are funny. So we'll see what happens with them. Obviously, it's become like a theme where Hunter is like leaving her out of stuff, so we'll see what goes on with that. Next storyline, Rasha and Zoe are excited about their first date, and this is great because, with everything that happened with Zoe um, last season, it's really good that Zoe kind of has someone who really likes her, and from what we see, Rasha is very genuine. Although she tells Goldie about like their plans because she's really excited, and she kind of like squeals, and so Winston and Goldie hear it outside, and so when Rasha comes out, Goldie's like, why are you so happy? And she tells him about this concert thing or whatever. Goldie gets tickets, and then Winston's like, oh, that was probably a Zoe thing, right? And so Rasha's like, I can't tell Goldie, I can't come out. And so and it goes back to like being like her religion, and she's not sure how she'll react, even though Goldie is open to gays, but being Muslim, I guess, would be different. And so Rasha tells Zoe that Goldie has pretty much decided to come, and she feels like she's ruining things, and so they come up with a plot. And Zoe fakes being sick to Goldie and says Winston has to do something, so she has to cancel. And also after that, Goldie goes in and gets some books, and then Goldie says, "Oh, Rasha, I'm so sorry, I have to cancel." And actually, I really feel bad for Goldie. I know, like I've kind of like I don't like dislike Goldie, but I feel like from what we've seen of her in the previous seasons, I mean, this season she's been pretty tolerable, but I mean, before she'd kind of been annoying, and so I kind of feel bad for Goldie because she's just like really excited about the concert. She got tickets and obviously to hang out with her friends, but Rasha and Zoe being sneaky, and we've seen this before where someone has to be sneaky in a relationship. In TV in real life usually doesn't end well. So I mean, the more they sneak around, they'll get caught eventually. And when they celebrate, I actually thought they're gonna get caught because I was like, oh crap, like Goldie here, like walks in and then they're cheering and then she's like, "Oh, you guys lied about it." So I actually thought Goldie was gonna find out, but she didn't. But I do feel bad. I did feel bad for Goldie because that was kind of messed up to go sneak. But I get it. Rasha can't tell her, but still, I mean, I don't know. So they go to the dot. Tiny's like, "What do you what do you want?" No, he's like, "How can I help you?" Whatever. And so I didn't know Tiny worked at the dot. I guess I missed that. Maybe. You guys know I like the dot. It's yeah. Anyways, um, what else happens? Yeah. So they talk to Tiny. Zoe says her order, and then Rasha is about to say her order when she sees Baz about to walk in through, and she's like, "Can we hide here?" And Tiny's like, "Scheming. I like scheming," or something about scheming. Um, Whatever. And so they hide, and then Baz makes himself comfortable. Rasha's like, maybe he'll get a quick coffee. He's like, what are your dinner specials or whatever. So Baz is gonna be there for a while. So their date is pretty much ruined because obviously if Baz sees them together, he'll tell Goldie. And so this whole sneaky thing. So we're kind of getting more of Rasha, even though she seems nice. She's very sneaky and very adamant on Goldie not knowing anything about her being gay. And so later, I think the next day, in the student council office, Rasha says Zoe shouldn't date her because she's complicated and everything. She feels bad, and I get it because you don't want to like sneak around and make the other person feel like you're ashamed of them or whatever, even though that's not the case. But Rasha's like, you shouldn't date me. I'm complicated. They kiss, and then they say, I think Zoe says, I want to do that so bad yesterday, and so they sneak. They go behind somewhere and they kiss again. And Zoe's mom pops up. I'm like, where did you come from? Like, literally, I was like, wait, isn't that the office? Or, but I guess there's like an opening so anyone could have seen them. And I mean, it was either gonna be Goldie or her mom, but this was just priceless. Like, the look on her mom's face was priceless. I was like, wow, like, literally, that look was so well done. Like, the actress who plays Zoe's mom, that was very well done because just like the look of disgust on her face, like just like the look of disgust, and then she looks at Rasha like, yeah, we know this is not gonna end well, and I feel like it's very interesting because usually when you're sneaking around, it's only like one person is like trying to do the sneaking on the person. Now it's kind of like Zoe has a mom who is Catholic and believes being gay is a sin. Rasha has a religion that believes the same thing. And so it's going to be very interesting to see where this whole thing goes. And the final storyline we're talking about is Grace, and I'm really glad we got a Grace storyline. As we know, she has cystic fibrosis, and we find out that, and obviously I noted that she's been coughing lately. We find out that she needs a lung transplant to extend her life to 10 years, and if not, she'll only have 3 years to live. And there is a possibility that the lung surgery will not go. Her body will reject the lung, and she won't survive the surgery. So it's not a guarantee if she gets the surgery she'll live for 10 years. So in class, I think Grace texts Maya something. Maya says something like she can't be there, sorry, and so Grace kind of feels bad. And then one, I think I forgot if they're doing the play or something, or yeah, they're doing the play, and Miles and Jonah clash, and then Grace kind of freaks out, and then she tells Jonah about like the transplant, and that she's conflicted and she's not really interested in only prolonging her life to 10 years. Even though like 10 years is more than three, it's like she's still gonna die fairly earlier than most people, and so Jonah and them play hooky, and he's like, "Hey, let's go." Um, and they go to play putt putt, and they bet on her life. And Jonah says if he wins, she gets a transplant. If not, she can do what she wants to do. And so they keep on talking, and Grace kind of mentions some stuff about people moving on, and she's like, yeah, and you have Frankie, and he pretty much says like they kind of broke up or slash on a break. I don't know the wording he used, but he pretty much says that they're not together. And so Grace says, you gotta live for yourself. And even though he says like I really care for Frankie and all that stuff, um, he's pretty much adamant on like, yeah, I'm not sure what to do because I'm trying so hard for Frankie, and obviously it's kind of the same thing with like what Frankie mentioned, um, with her like loving Jonah, but like still like feel like she's trying way too hard for a relationship. And so later he says a line that I really like. He says, "All this time I thought you were afraid to die, but you're actually afraid to live." And like kind of like live to like see like everyone kind of like mature and like evolve in life, and kind of how that will happen, because eventually like Grace will have to see everyone grow up and possibly have families and stuff like that and get jobs, and she'll be she'll be growing up with them, but she knows that she'll die before them. And so that was kind of interesting to see, and really kind of show like as much as Grace kind of puts up this wall, um, she is like a very genuine person. And it does suck like what's happening to her, because obviously no one chooses like how to no one chooses like to have like a disease, and it just happens to certain people. And rather if it's genetics or whatever factor, you can't like choose a disease, and she has to live with this, and she has a lot of things to think about. So they find, I'm not sure if they go to her house or whatever, but they find Maya on some steps with blood on her face, and she's like, Maya, Maya, and then she tells Jonah, get help. And then Maya like gets up with this creepy laugh, like it's like this slow, like seductive, like creepy laugh. Like I thought she's gonna be like, Grace, I'm okay. Like immediately, no, she's like, she kind of like waits it out. Like I felt like that was like really weird, like the way she like dragged that laugh on. It was just like she just like reacted like so slowly, like it was nothing. Like, oh, we're in the park getting ice cream. Oh, hey Grace, what's up? And so she's like, you ditched me for this, and then she freaks out on Maya. And then obviously Side is there. She pretty much tells him it's art. I love Grace. She's like, and who the hell are you? Like, literally nobody but Maya um, and like Rasha know who Side is. I don't think anyone has interacted with Side, um, which is kind of interesting. But like I said before, I think Saad, for him, it's like just taking pictures. It's like an art form. But for Maya, it's like completely something else. And she goes on a tangent saying death is beautiful or whatever. And I get it, but Grace disagreed. And obviously, her perspective her perspective is skewed because she is in a position where she's dying. Like her body is dying, and within 3 years, she's gone if she doesn't have the surgery. So um, it's like every like her body is getting worse. So kind of the doctor mentioned like when Grace says I'm not feeling any sicker, and she says your body has been accustomed to being sick, which sucks. So that happens, and so after that, after the she resolves the play, because throughout this episode, Jonah and Miles keep clashing on their creative differences, because yeah, neither of them see the eye to eye. So Grace makes a suggestion, sorry, and everything goes well with that. And so she tells Jonah that she's getting the transplant, and he's really excited about that. And so they say that I think they decided before that on like hanging out again. So that's pretty cool. Not sure if they'll date or stay friends, but I mean, it's kind of hinting towards it. And as we know, Jonah um, kind of goes from, well, actually, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say goes Golden Girl, but I mean he's only dated Becky prior um, to dating Frankie. From what we know from Degrassi, I mean he had a past prior to Degrassi, obviously, but not saying he's a player, but it's kind of leaning towards the fact that he's going to. They might have a thing, so that'll be interesting to see. Not sure if that will happen, but we shall see. And Maya sends her pictures. It says, "This is what I've been working on." Sends her the pictures. And a quick note I saw on like the Degrassi wiki, I guess it's called tragedy porn, and I've never ever heard of that. So that's very interesting. Um, but I've kind of like seen stuff like that, like I don't know, like kind of like random pictures on Instagram where like people are posing where they're like lying down and actually never mind. I I've no clue what tragedy porn is, but um, I guess this is a very interesting thing because I've never really heard of it. So we'll have to see what happens with that. And also, the episode ends. Well, the storyline ends with Grace blocking Maya's number. So she's pretty much fed up with Maya. She's done. She's like, "You ditched me for taking pictures," and Grace is over it. And also, you know, Grace isn't sure how long she has left to live, so she's going to move forward with people who are a positive light in her life. So that's great. And yeah, that's pretty much it. What do you guys think about this episode? Comment, like below. Thank you all so much for watching. It's been your boy Neon Diamond 101. Peace.